What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. This is your boy CJ Talk Sports, aka Mr. Christian Jones, and today we're going to be doing another mock draft. Now that I could see I finally picked me up some new glasses frames, so I'll be able to see, so I'll be able to see much more clearer. And today we're going to be doing another mock draft. This time with an updated look on the Carolina Panthers training for Sam Darnold. If you want my opinion, I think this is a really good move for Carolina. Me personally, I think outside of Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold is probably my second or third best quarterback if he were to come out in this year's draft. And the fact that Carolina didn't really have to give up much to get him at the value that they were able to get home is a really good move for them. Sam Darnold's going to be costing Carolina absolutely nothing. And if you're the Jets, okay, fine. You'll draft a quarterback at number 2 overall. You unload Sam Darnold, get back a couple of picks. And for Sam Darnold, there aren't many places that I think is a better fit for him than Carolina. So we're going to jump into this mock draft. We're going to do a 32 mock. No, we're going to do a first round mock for all 32 teams. And let's get this started. With the first pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars not going to waste any time on this at all. Trevor Lawrence. There's a reason Urban Meyer finally decided to come to the NFL at this time. It's because Trevor Lawrence was coming out. The Jaguars should be able to turn this around within a span of a couple of years. And with doing so, they're going to take Trevor Lawrence, hands down, number 1 pick. At number 2, the New York Jets, not going to waste any time with this pick either. The trading away Sam Darnold basically confirms that the Jets are going to take a quarterback, and I am about 95% sure that they're going to take Zach Wilson. They could. Very unlikely that they could go with a Justin Fields or another quarterback, but it's no secret that after a couple of days of them seeing Zach Wilson's pro day, they decide, okay, we're going to unload Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson's our guy. At number 3, the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know there's been a lot of buzz that they're very interested in Mac Jones. I am not buying it. I think this whole thing is just a smokescreen. I just can't see San Francisco giving up all that draft capital to get Mac Jones. Now again, I like Mac Jones. I think he's a good NFL quarterback. I even have him as a first round pick. Even before college season ended. So it's not that I'm not a fan of Mac Jones. I like him a lot, but as a top 3 pick, I just don't see it. And I know he fits Kyle Shanahan's offense to a T, but I'm just not buying it. You're moving off of Jimmy Garoppolo in a year because you feel like he's got a limited ceiling. Well, that's essentially what Mac Jones is. So with this pick, I'm going to have the Niners going with the perfect blend of both upside and on the field talent, production, and that is Justin Fields. Justin Fields was my number 2 quarterback for most of this year, for most of this past season. But the reason why I think the Jets are going to pass on him is because Zach Wilson just has more upside, and I think he fits what the Jets do better. He's more of a gunslinger. He's got a lot of playmaking ability, and not that Fields doesn't, but Fields is more of like your prototype. Sit back in the pocket, can make plays with his feet, but is more of a pocket passer. And I think Zach Wilson is more ready to start right away. And I think Fields, it will do him some good if he were to sit and learn for a year. So, yeah, that's where I have the Niners going with the number 3 pick, Justin Fields. At number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. This is really difficult because I had basically 2 scenarios with the Atlanta Falcons. On one hand, I think they could stay at this pick and either take a quarterback or take Kyle Pitts. I'm firmly at the mindset that's what they might just do. I think they're going to stay here and either take a quarterback or they take Kyle Pitts. Having said that, I'm going to have them make a trade because I really think this defense needs a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. So what I'm going to do is have the Denver Broncos move up in a trade with the Falcons. Let's see. We're gonna give up our first round pick this year and our first round pick next year, plus a number 2 pick, plus a second round pick. We're gonna propose this trade to the Falcons for their 4th pick, and they accept. So now that Denver is up, all signs look to point that they are not a fan of Drew Lock. And with their coach on the hot seat, he needs to win. So they're going to move up and get their quarterback for the future. And that is Mr. Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance has a lot of upside. A ton of upside. I actually think he has, outside of Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance may have the most upside of all these quarterbacks. I mean, he's super raw. He's very athletic. He can make plays on the move. He really reminds me of a poor man's Josh Allen out of Wyoming. He just needs a lot of time to kind of just sit and learn. And I think with the Broncos being unsure about Drew Lock, I think this pick makes a lot of sense for Denver. At number 5, listen, to me, this is a no-brainer, Cincinnati. This is a no-brainer. You have to protect Joe Burrow by any means necessary. Penei Sewell is my number 1 tackle on the board. And yes, I know they took Riley Reef from Minnesota, but he is not your long-term answer. You need to solidify your 2 bookends for Joe Burrow. Otherwise, you're going to ruin this kid's career. I know the fascination of Jamar Chase because of their LSU connection is fascinating. But what good is weapons if you don't protect your quarterback? Burrow's offensive line is awful, and as a Giants fan, it's probably worse than ours. So I'm going to have the Bengals take the best player on the board at this point. Penei Sewell, while I don't think he's a generational left tackle, I just think his upside and his tangibles are so high. Now, they could just fall in love with Rashard Slater, which I could see them doing because Rashard Slater is a beast. But Penei Sewell, I just feel like it's the safest pick of the 2. So, Bengals, do the right thing. Protect Joe Burrow. Give him a tackle. At number 6, the Miami Dolphins. They moved back up from 12 to 6, obviously for a weapon. I was going to give him Jamar Chase, wide receiver, because Tua really needs a number 1 receiver. But I'm going to go in a different route. I'm going to give the Miami Dolphins a weapon that's going to make Tua and this offense so much better, it's ridiculous. And I'm talking about the generational tight end / wide receiver / whatever you want to call him, Kyle Pitts. Listen, the dude is just a play. The dude is just a big play waiting to happen. Kyle Pitts, if you want to say he's a generational weapon, that's fine. When I envision, excuse me, when I envision Kyle Pitts and Tua, Y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but I kind of see like a similar version of when Drew Brees had Jimmy Graham. I mean, and listen, I know it's kind of blasphemous to say that, but who was Tua compared to coming out of Alabama? A lot of people say he's a left-handed version of Drew Brees. And who does Kyle Pitts remind you of? A lot of different tight ends. He's got a little Travis Kelce, Darren Waller. Some even comparing him to Giants' legendary wide receiver, Plaxico Burress. But I see a lot of Jimmy Graham with Kyle Pitts. A lot of Jimmy Graham. Just his size, his speed, his ability to catch 50-50 balls. Yeah, him and Tua are literally a match made in heaven. Because Tua needs that big, massive target that could get separation with the best of them. And I think Kyle Pitts fits that mold. So I'm going to have Pitts going to Miami. At number 7, the Detroit Lions. This is an easy pick. Why waste any time with it? They need a number one. They need a number one wide receiver. And Jamar Chase, similar to Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase might be a generational wide receiver. I mean, and you saw when Jared Goff had elite separation route runners in Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, the dude excelled. He needs weapons in the worst way possible in Detroit. You lost your two best wide receivers in both Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. Jamar Chase, he's almost essentially like Kenny Golladay. He's a vertical threat. He's a big target. He beats man-to-man coverage like it's nothing. And he's a big target. So, if he's there for the Lions at 7, I see this as a can't-miss pick. Absolutely. Now, Carolina. I'm about to break my heart. Because I have fallen in love with this kid since the Giants completed free agency. He was my guy for so long when we elected to get a boatload of receivers in the draft. In free agency, excuse me. And I know a lot of Giants fans want him. I want him too. But unfortunately, and shout out to the Hub for giving me this inkling, but as I looked at Carolina's free agency acquisitions, they buffered up their defense, they got good weapons, and they specifically tagged Taylor Morton, who's been a really good right tackle for them. I have them getting their book in left tackle and Rashard Slater. Slater could play either tackle positions. He could play guard as well. He could legitimately play all 5 positions on the offensive line. But he's probably suited best at left tackle. And that is exactly what Carolina needs, a left tackle. And so, I'm going to have him slide right there at left tackle opposite of Taylor Morton on Carolina. And Sam Darnold, he's got his 2 bookends. Plus a ton of weapons, so Rashard Slater, welcome to Carolina. At number 9, the Atlanta Falcons. Speaking of breaking hearts, I'm going to break a lot of Cowboy fans' heart, as I love to do. Now, the Falcons could go any different route. They could go another weapon, which would be foolish. They could go Micah Parsons, who for a while was my number 1 ranked defensive player in this year's draft. But with the amount of receivers in the NFC South, and with pretty much everyone having at least a good to decent quarterback, you gotta buffer up that secondary. And so I have them going with the best corner on my board, he's my CB number 1, Patrick Surtain. Out of Alabama. Okay, he's got it all. He's got the pedigree, the size, the tangibles. He's good in press. He's good in zone. He's a playmaker. He is a corner that Atlanta hasn't had in years, and I mean years. And so I think he's a match made fit in heaven for this Atlanta Falcons defense. He's trying to turn a corner. And yeah, welcome to Atlanta. At 10, Dallas Cowboys. Don't be so mad. Okay, don't be so mad. You're still going to get a great corner. So I'm going to have you guys taking J.C. Horn. My CB2. A lot of people CB2s. J.C. Horn, what can I say that hasn't yet been said? Much like Patrick Surtain, he's great in press. He's a real man-to-man corner. Patrick Surtain is more versatile, but J.C. Horn is the prototype. He's got the size, the length, the coverage skills. Listen, with the amount of receivers that both Washington and the Giants now have, you got to buffer up that secondary some way, somehow. So I was originally going to give them Patrick Surtain, but since he's off the board, Dallas gets the next best thing, who's still a great corner, in J.C. Horn. At number 11, my New York Giants. Look at this board. Just look at this board for a second. Isn't this a fabulous board right here? We could go anywhere. We could go Micah Parsons, best linebacker in this draft. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who's a great coverage linebacker. But we also have the 2 Bama wide receivers still on the board. And looking at it at 12, Mac Jones. Mac Jones is still on the board for New England if they want to trade up for him. Shout out to KB. But, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to take who I think is the perfect complement to Kenny Golladay. We're going to get the guy that I have been dreaming of us taking ever since he won the Heisman. And we're going with Devontae Smith out of Alabama. Now we got 2 number 1 receivers. And with the opportunity to buffer up our offensive line midway through the draft. So you had Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy winner. Welcome to New York. But don't worry, Eagles fans. Do not worry. I'm going to give you guys my number 2 wide receiver on the board, Jalen Waddle. The Jalen Express. I just thought of that. You got Jalen Hurts, Jalen Waddle, and you took Jalen Reagor last year. The Jalen Express. I like that, Eagles fans. That's going to be my new nickname for y'all if y'all take Jalen Waddle. The Jalen Express. How about that? Now the Chargers at 13. No brainer whatsoever. Gotta protect Justin Burrow. Get him on offensive tackle, Christian Darrisaw. Love that pick. Probably the most obvious one outside of Trevor Lawrence. At number 14, Minnesota. They could go a variety of different ways. They could upgrade their interior of their offensive line with Elijah Vera Tucker, who's still on the board at 21. By the way, ranked way too low. They too could go Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, get that coverage linebacker. They could also go pass rusher and Christian Barmore. Pair him with Dalvin Tomlinson would be a nightmare. But I think you guys know where I'm going with this. They need a force up the middle. Not just a guy that's going to be good in coverage. Micah Parsons comes off the board. Welcome to Minnesota. Hope you don't mind it being that cold in there. And plus, I think Mike Zimmer is a perfect coach for him. Someone that can hold him accountable, keep him upright. They got leaders in that locker room with Harrison Smith and Anthony Barr, who are still really good players. So, Micah Parsons, and plus, he's the type of guy that you could legitimately build your defense around. He's solid as an edge rusher. Okay, he's a tackling machine. He is what when Tampa Bay drafted Tevin White. Him and Levante David are probably the best linebacking core in football. You pair Micah Parsons with Anthony Barr and Harrison Smith in the middle. Oh my, Minnesota, you're cooking up something on that defensive side. At 15, New England, they finally get their quarterback of the future. Who? Mac Jones. Who? Mac Jones. Again, shout out to Kid Blue for that tidbit. 16, Arizona Cardinals. They got to get a corner. I mean, they really do. They lost Drake Kirkpatrick and Patrick Peterson. I like the Malcolm Butler signing. But again, they need a number one corner. And this is a kid whose draft stock is skyrocketing. Greg Newsome. Now you have potentially two number one corners. Hopefully Isaiah Simmons gets his act together and be a dominant coverage linebacker. Along with Greg Newsome, that's a pretty good secondary, if you ask me, for Arizona. 17, the Las Vegas Raiders almost said Oakland. We're not going to waste any time. They need inside linebacker help in the worst way possible. JOK. JOK comes off the board. Fit right there. Perfect fit. At number 18, Miami Dolphins. This is very interesting. Because they could go edge rusher. They could go running back. But their offensive line, it still needs a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. So I'm going to have them taking versatile offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker. He could probably start at tackle. Or you can line him next to, what was that kid's name? Jonah Jackson? No, excuse me, Austin Jackson. You pair him next to Austin Jackson. And bam. You've almost solidified your offensive line. Getting better and better. At number 19, Washington. Man. Boy, are they cooking up something good. They're cooking up something real good. But, as they say, you can never, and I mean you can never, run out of good pass rushers. But I do think their linebacking core could use an upgrade. So I'm going to have them going Jamid Davis out of Kentucky. I like this kid a lot. He's a good fit. He could roam around the field. Be that Mike linebacker. He's pretty good in coverage. He's an effective blitzer. And I think Ron Rivera is going to love him. He completes that front seven. We know their pass rush is already elite. Now they get their signal caller, probably for the next decade, in Jamid Davis. At number 20, the Chicago Bears. This is where I finally am going to get my first edge rusher off the board. With uncertainty with Khalil Mack going forward, I think they could use another pass rusher, and Azeez Ojulari will fit right in. As a 3-4 outside linebacker. Perfect fit. At number 21, the Indianapolis Colts. Man, I really don't know what to do with the Colts right here. I'm really not sure. I mean, on one end, they could go another running back, but they already have Jonathan Taylor, who I really like. They could go Christian Barmore. Mm. But they really need another pass rusher. And they really need an offensive tackle here. So, I'm going to go with Samuel Cosme. Samuel Cosme out of Texas. Sorry for the Jeremy Johns notification, guys. Number 22. Oh, this is a no-brainer. I've been saying all along that this kid is more than just an interior nose tackle. No, he is a pass rusher, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Barmore. Plug him right inside that Titans defense. And he's good as a pass rusher. He's good in the middle. Titans haven't had a force like this kid since Jarrell Casey, who they severely miss in the pass rush category last year. So Christian Barmore, Tennessee, perfect fit. Number 23, the New York Jets. Let's go get Najee Harris. Get Zach Wilson some actual tools to mess with. Number 24, Pittsburgh Steelers. They could go a variety of different ways. I mean, they really could. What do we do with the Steelers? They could go Rashard Bateman, but the Steelers need an offensive line help probably just as much as the Colts do. I don't know. So weird saying that the Steelers need to upgrade on their offensive line. It really does. They also need to find Big Ben's heir apparent. You know what? Screw it. Back-to-back running backs coming off the board. Travis Etienne. Good in the passing game, good in the running game. Knows how to set up blocks. Yeah. Steelers, go get your running back. Number 25, Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, I know Trevor Lawrence must be pissed the fact that they just lost his star running back. But it's okay. There's plenty of good running backs in this draft. Number 25, Jacksonville Jaguars. Travion Howard. Morning. What am I saying? Bam. Elite caliber safety. Number 26. Browns. They got their tackles. They got their running backs. They got some good receivers. Who to give Cleveland? Oh, I know. Another pass rusher, Kwity Paye. I know you people must be shocked that I've had him lasted this long, but it's okay. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this edge rusher class. So I think you'll only see a couple of edge rushers come off this board. Number 27, Baltimore. Look, y'all, it's a number 1 receiver, Rashard Bateman. I'm tired of you Ravens fans complaining about how, we don't have a number 1 receiver yet. You guys are going to get one. This draft is loaded with top-notch receivers, and in my opinion, Rashard Bateman, he's every bit as good as Smith or Waddle. So if you guys get him here, that's an absolute steal. You get your number 1 receiver, opposite of Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins. Raven fans, enjoys with this pick. Number 28, New Orleans Saints. Don't want to waste any more time with the rest of these picks because they're kind of obvious. Joseph Asai. Number 29, Green Bay Packers. Creed Humphrey. 30 Buffalo. I'm going with this pick surely out of upside and hoping his medicals are clear. At 30, fortunately, they need a pass rush. Jalen Phillips. Welcome to Buffalo. 31, Kansas City Chiefs. They need a tackle, Tevin Jenkins. And at 32, the Super Bowl champions. They are going to take Mr. Caleb Farley. And that's the end of my mock draft, everyone. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Please sure to like and subscribe to CJ Talk Sports. I'm going to be going live with Kid Blue, Hub, Nate, Benny Talks Football, and Logan's Giant Zone pretty soon. This is your boy Christian Jones, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.